Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at something I've been wanting to take a look at for quite some time. This is the absolutely evil looking high-grade Gundam Barbataurus. As usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those absolutely awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan, so if you do want this kit right here or any gunpla that you want of your own, then check out that link down there in the description. So first off, I might as well talk a little bit about the build. Now this is based on the high-grade Gundam Barbataurus. That kit has been around for quite some time and is one of my all-time favorites. But it is a fatally flawed kit in a lot of different ways. It's heavily reliant on stickers to make up for all the different colors that aren't present in plastic. And these kits are notoriously loose. They get very loose over time. So the high-grade Barbataurus right here is made out of 2 Barbies, which does, well, mean twice the potential floppy. That is why I actually decided to top coat this kit like I've done with the last few Gundam frame kits I've taken a look at. So that of course was the equally evil looking high-grade Gundam Grammary, and before that was the high-grade Hajiroboshi. I matte top coat all of these. I take them apart just to the point where you can hit all the limbs, all the different individual joints, to make sure that they actually thicken up a little bit so they hold a little better. So it will basically hold the poses the way that you want it to. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a very floppy kit. On top of that, there is always one mod I do suggest with these kits. It's very mild, very easy to do, and that is just take some plastic cement and cement this segment here between the 2 AHAB reactors. If you do not do that, these will separate inside of your model kit and it will get, well, even more floppy. Again, these high-grade kits are absolutely awesome, but the Gundam frame inside, the high-grade Gundam frame, is fatally flawed and needs that little bit of extra attention. But anyway, into the aesthetics. So jumping into that full 360 spin, and the high-grade Gundam Barbataurus right here is one of the coolest things I have ever seen. This has actually taken some of the aspects I just mentioned about the high-grade Barbataurus and completely removed them from the equation. This does require some stickers, but they're mainly just the shiny ones, those different power icon looking segments all over the kit, but that is it. It doesn't have as many other color correcting stickers we would have seen on the standard high-grade Barbataurus. So the color separation on this is somewhat, actually a good deal better. It's still similar, but let's just say it was designed that little bit better with color separation in mind. Besides that, this has been changed so much. We've got that super elongated torso, the long shin armor, and that absolutely massive set of pointed shoulders, and that asymmetrical massive V-fin. And that is before we even talk about the fact that this thing right here is a centaur, a Gundam centaur. There is one thing I will mention though. The way the joints go on the limbs around back, I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan of personally. I actually had built it the other way around first, just assuming that the knees would point forward, well, you know, like an actual centaur. But no, it's the other way around, so this is the way that it should look. Anyway, let's get in a little bit closer to take a look at the details. So I did already mention this, but I'll mention it again. I did matte top coat this kit, so that is why it does look the way that it does. It always gives them a bit of a painted look, kind of more like an action figure or a fully painted build. This I highly recommend on all kits, not just your Gundam frames. So I've actually removed the whole centaur section off the back of this right here because, well, because you can, just so we can get a little bit of comparison going with the original Gundam Barbataurus. And there it is, straight built exactly the way it would have been. How many years ago has it been now? 6? But as you can see, the change between these two variants of Barbataurus is ridiculous. Not only do we have the whole extra set of legs, the whole change of color, but there's been so many other extras added. When it comes to the head, the most obvious aspect is that asymmetrical massive V-fin, but one subtle difference I never noticed before is the fact that we now have some spike segments coming out where the face vents would have been. That's pretty cool. The whole chest section here has been changed a lot. We've just got a flat, fairly standard chest with some vents on the standard Barbie. We do have a sticker, but the Barbataurus is rocking so much pointy detailing, including the red segments coming from underneath both on top and below, almost giving it a bit of a kind of visceral, almost rib cage kind of look. Pretty cool. The shoulders right there obviously speak for themselves. They're completely different. Nothing remains of what we would have seen on the original Barbataurus. And one of the coolest aspects about this design is what I can only describe as a bit of a belly extension. So it has this segment here right below the typical tiny Gundam frame waist that gives it the extra height compared to the original right here. That is one of the main things, giving it the height as well as the new extended high heels. We've got more of that cool jagged red venting in the waist front skirting and some new extended shin armor. This is both longer and a little nicer designed, which means we've got color separation in the thrusters round back without the need for stickers. Very nice. Finally then we got a full foot overhaul, giving it more height and a lot more spiky armor down bottom. So before we actually get the bottom end right here back on, it is worth noting that this is basically just another full Gundam frame kind of flipped around. I'm just gonna spin it around a little quickly here. The limbs are the other way. Flip the feet, there's the body, side skirts. We've got the beginning of some arms. We've got the shoulder armor for Gundam Barbaric there. And bring that tail up like this. And there you go, you've got most of another Gundam on the back end here. I will also mention there are a pair of arms left over on the runners as well, so if you want to arm that up, all that you'd be missing is a head. If you're not familiar with this model kit and you haven't had it in your hands, one thing you might be a little bit shocked about if you've seen the anime is, it's not necessarily that big. The anime makes it look huge. I mean, it's technically completely nerfed when it comes to mass, almost by the backpack of the Perfect Strike Freedom right here. The anime makes it look a whole lot bigger. So if you're curious about what size this is, there it is side by side with a standard size Gundam, which is Gundam the Origin. So now jumping into the accessories, and here is the high-grade Gundam Barbataurus with absolutely everything it comes with. I've split them into the classic Gundam Barbataurus equipment over on the left, and what's new for the Taurus over on the right. Now let's check them all out. So the first weapon we have in here is that classic and iconic Gundam Barbataurus mace. So this is the same as what we would have seen so many years ago. This just slots into the hand simple as, and Bandai were actually smart enough to put some square segments on the shaft of this so it won't rotate in the hands when it is held. You can have it held in one hand or you can have it held in two. This works brilliant, but like I mentioned, out of the box, without modification, the kit might have a little bit of issue holding it up. Next up in here, and another leftover from the OG kit, is that katana we would have seen so many years ago once again. To attach that, you need to remove the back of the hand because the angled end of the handle does stop it from just sliding in, but it holds on and holds in perfectly. So now finally moving into the actual weapons that are unique to the Barbataurus right here, and first up are the twin blades. According to the instructions right here, the pair of swords resemble the shape of the antenna on the head. The blades can be dual-wielded or used in handgun mode as two projectile weapons. So that right there is what they look like held in blade mode, and I will mention these actually have rounded handles, not a square handle, which means they can and will rotate in the hands on you, which is a little annoying at times. Like the manual says, in order to flip these into handgun mode, that is exactly what you do. Just spin them around like so and flip them forward like this. Maybe not the most convincing looking handguns around, but that's what they look like. However, the main purpose of this weapon is totally not those blades at all. You can combine both of these end to end like so, and you've got yourself one hell of a massive bow. Combine that with this arrow right here, which is made out of a Dane's leaf. And finally with this crackling Gundam Barbataurus energy effect. This is now one hell of an awesome weapon. Now I will mention, this kind of bugs me a little bit, this here energy crackling effect, because I've always wanted one of these for using with the eye of a Gundam Barbataurus, but we never got one, so I guess this is the closest thing we'll ever get. So the way this all attaches together felt to me a little bit on the vague side at first, as in nothing connects together, nothing really slots into anything. You just kind of take a look at the picture in the manual and just line it all up, and then it just kind of works out. This looks badass. It really adds to the Centaur appeal and the overall awesomeness of this kit. This, once again, is super unique and a whole lot of fun. I love this. So when you're not using this as a bow or as the blades, this can actually be stored on the side skirts by using these little adapter segments. We've got 3 holes so you can stick it into any one of these. The blade just slots in just like so and looks like this. If you don't want to pop the blade in there, you can also pop the longsword that we would have seen a little earlier on in the review. So the last couple of things inside the box right here, it doesn't actually say in the instructions what they do. So in case you're curious and you don't know, first off, these little clip segments attach onto the backpack like so. These are from the standard high-grade Barbataurus, and it means you can stick the longsword onto the backpack like this. The other segments, which have ball joints on each end, are actually for separating out the backpack like so it can be brought forward so Barbie can reach its weapons. This is usually used for the long-range ones, but you could use it like this as well. It's just kind of like a supplementary arm to move that segment of the backpack forward, just like what you're seeing right here. And the last interesting aspect about this kit is the alternate backpack. If you actually pull the backpack off and replace it with the backpack that's on the, well, other back that this kit has, well, this is your standard width Iron-Blooded Orphan's backpack pair of holes, but if you pull off this layer underneath, you've got your standard high-grade backpack set of holes. So that does mean you've now got an adapter for using with Iron-Blooded Orphans kits to give you the standard backpack adapter hole. So now moving into the final part of the review, which of course is the articulation. Now, we've seen pretty much what Barbie can do over and over again, and for the most part, the body is the same. So that is a double ball joint neck, which does what a neck usually does. The arms are very inclined to fall off up here because of that design. The shoulders here are ball joints. The shoulder armor moves separately to the arms. The arms can raise up about to there. Full 360 spin right here. Single point elbow bends. Ball joint wrists. We've got an extra segment at the waist here, so that's the usual ball and socket up here. And just rotation at the bottom one. There goes another one of those shoulders. Woo. The kicks are fine, but blocked a little bit by how large the armor is, but the overall articulation is decent enough. Knee bend in here also is quite fine, and the ankles are pretty good in that typical Gundam Barbataurus kind of way. So yeah, the actual variant of Barbataurus up front right here is very, very nice. The way we would have remembered it, just with a now super long torso. So, you know, par for a high grade. However, these things round back, like this right here, this is hard to actually do anything with. Got a little bit of humping action, it seems. These right here are shoulder joints, so they do what a shoulder joint did when it was the shoulder, but now they're like really good side skirts. These right here are side skirts, just big pieces of armor. However, the back legs around here, these I can never really do much with at all. I find I try to get some kind of pose first up front, like whatever I want out of Barbie, but then flipping around to these legs here, these just only ever seem to play a supplementary role. They're not very poseable. They're not pointing the right way to be like centaur or horse legs, so they always look a little bit on the awkward side. Again, I find I'm usually only using these to prop it up when it's in a pose. They most certainly do look fine, it's just you don't get too much posing potential out of them. So the high-grade Barbataurus is a very, very good kit, and one that I would rank silver tier, as in average for a high grade in 2022, which to me means it is better than the standard high-grade Barbie. It beats it out on color separation, features, pretty much everything. When it comes to the aesthetics, this thing is beautiful. It's so unique, it's crazy. You can build it as a standard Gundam if you want, if you don't like the whole centaur appeal, or you can have one of the most unique looking Gundams around with all those 4 legs, spikes, and kick-ass colors. When it comes to the accessories in here, we've everything you would have seen with the standard version of the high-grade Barbataurus, and now we've got a real killer bow, which has some of those crackling Barbataurus eye effects, basically, for a string. Lastly then, when it does come to the build and the articulation, you do need to do a little extra with this kit out of box. Top coat it at least on all the joints, tighten it up because it will be a marionette otherwise. But besides that, you get some great poses, but the legs and the back don't tend to do a whole lot really. On the whole though, awesome kit. So yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much to HobbyLink for sending this on to me. As always, make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, none of these videos would be possible without each and every one of you guys watching this video right now, and my special thanks to those who are helping out over on the channel memberships and on Patreon, including Gunpla UK Limited, Org 59061, Joe Forsetti, Joseph Kukluk, Lauren Seahack, Global Frequency Studios, Van Fawn, Caleb Engelhart,